Sweet deal. Well, welcome to the Monday Night Team Call, and just so you guys know, if we haven't had the chance to meet yet, my name is Nick Greco. You can see Mallory on here. She's our special guest speaker for the night, and we put these calls together. We do a virtual call on Mondays at 10 o'clock Colorado time, and then we do this call at 7 o'clock Colorado time. And some of you guys don't know Mountain Time, so that would be noon Eastern Time and 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. And we do these calls on Mondays. And we really wanted to put it together just to teach people the nuts and bolts, what's working out there, where are people having success, and just to give you guys some practical stuff that you can use starting tomorrow to go make more money. And so excited for that. And for those of you guys that maybe you've been paying attention on the Telegram, maybe you haven't, in August and September we were running a promotion for everybody who issue paid over 10,000 either in August or September. We have a bunch of prizes for everybody essentially. So a bunch of you guys qualify for that. We'll post up the numbers and all that good stuff here soon. A lot of you guys know who you are. And then if you got 20,000 or more, you get more cash and tickets to Epcot in Orlando. Let's all say a prayer for Florida, and hopefully Orlando is still there for our event here coming up in a couple of weeks. So I'm sure it will be. But appreciate you guys for just being on here, hopping on and participating. And I know there's a lot of different things that you could be doing right now, and you're spending time with us. And so excuse me. Let me just say this. So we've had those promotions going, and just as a team, as an organization, Legacy Life, we've been kicking butt, taking names. Last month was one of the biggest months we've ever had. I don't know if it was the biggest month that we've ever had, but it was up there. And a lot of people out there just putting their heads down, going to work, doing work on the weekends, doing what it takes to win. So I just wanted to say from me to all of you guys, like, I'm proud of you guys, and if I can ever help out, definitely reach out and let me know. And for tonight's call, I'm going to shut up and we're going to let Mallory talk. And before she does, I just wanted to tell you guys, my wife and I actually, I've known Mallory, I think, since we were maybe like 13 or 14 years old. She went to a rival middle school and then a rival high school, but she went to the same middle school that my wife went to. And so they became friends in the middle school days, and we just kind of kept in touch throughout the years. We were in business together, I think starting in 2014, and then that business went out of business, and it just it made sense for her and her husband Austin to it just made sense for them to get started in insurance. And at first it was really her husband talking about it, having some interest, and then Mallory caught wind of it, and maybe she could share her story, or I'm sure she will. But since getting started, I'll just tell you guys, Mallory is one of the most organized people that I know. She's got her ducks in a row for sure when it comes to the insurance, and especially, working this business virtually. Like, you just have to be organized. So I'm excited to hear what if she talks about that. If she does, I'm excited to hear about a lot of that stuff. But she's extremely organized. She's in the top 10 issue paid for all of Legacy Life for this year. She was last year. I don't remember what number she was last year. Mal, do you remember what number you were last year? Yeah, you were top 10. In fact, I
Yeah.
think since getting started, I think she's been top 10 every single year, and she's currently also top 10 in Legacy Life. And she's just an ass kicker. She's getting after it. She's got two little girls at home. She's got a husband. So life is busy, but she's still, day in, day out, kicking butt, doing what's right for the clients, and making money, along the way. And she's also somebody who's really willing to help out. There's definitely been people that have reached out to her, and I'm sure maybe some of those calls she didn't necessarily want to take, or maybe she's busy on her own, but she's always willing to help. And we just appreciate you so much, Mallory, and you're a big asset to the team, and can't wait to hear you give them the goods here tonight. So take it away and let them have it.
Nick asked me, like, what do you want to talk about? And I said, more than anything, I just want to be helpful to y'all. I want, like, I can talk, about a couple things. And then at the end, if you want to open it up for Q&A, Nick, we can, if you have like some practical questions, or just my experience the last couple of years, like, what's it been like, just pick my brain if you want to. I just want to be helpful more than anything. If y'all see a cat, like, walk past the screen, they have shop cats up here. So I'm at my husband's office, and it's a cabinet shop. So please excuse the mess. Bunch of men in the office. No offense, guys, but So as far as who I am, like Nick said, I'm Mallory. I live in Texas. I don't know if y'all know that. I'm originally from Colorado, but moved to Texas like over 10 years ago. And really, I'm a teacher by trade. So when I started this back in 21 is when I got my license of October of 21. I had taken my first year off of working. I was kind of trying to sling clothes from a boutique out of my house. It wasn't, profit margins just weren't great. I was just very open to doing something because I had taught, and then I had my second daughter in the midst of COVID. And I don't know if y'all know anything about teacher salaries, but they're terrible. So um, going into the 2020 school year, I resigned. I had literally no plan. I'm like, I am scrappy. I can figure out something to make up for my teacher income. Like, I just knew there was going to be something. So, for the year from August 21 to, um, or from August 20 to August 2021, I just was like trying to sell clothes, like, had a Facebook group, just trying to make a little bit of money. And then Nick reached out to my husband, Austin. They were really good friends about insurance, and my husband thought it was going to be a good idea for him, but he was our primary, breadwinner. You can't leave your job. I don't have a job. So he said, well, what about you? What if you try it? So I got my license. He still hasn't even got his license, but got my license and started in October of 21. No sales training, like really, really no sales training. My husband was the one that really kind of did our previous business that we were in, World Ventures, with Nick and Danielle and everybody that were involved in that. And so I didn't really have a lot of experience. I didn't know anything about insurance, like not a thing, other than I had a term policy through work and I didn't even know what it was. Like, I literally did not know anything. So I had a really slow start, got my license in October of 21, and just out here by myself in Texas. And I did not have my first client until January. January. So October, November, December, 3 months of nobody. I was running appointments 3 days a week while my daughter was at like a children's day out program. And we sent my youngest daughter across the street to like an in-home daycare 3 days a week. And so that was a really long 3 months. And I tell you that just to maybe encourage, inspire somebody that if that has been your story, you're not alone. There's plenty of us that haven't started and just like ran out of the gate with just this amazing success story. For me, it's just been slow and steady. And I'm okay with that. I was looking at some data yesterday of just like how I've tracked, and it's just been like this very steady linear line upwards just over the last 2 years. And I am okay with that because if I was still teaching, my line would be real straight, maybe a little blurb up, every once in a while. And that was really why I got into this, was to replace my teaching income. So I hope someone is inspired by that. I had a slow start. So as far as kind of what I really want to talk about is just what a schedule can look like, and why it is so important that if this is not the only thing that you have your eyes set on every day. Maybe you're not an 8 to 5er because you've got, another job, or you've got kids, or everyone has their own different scenario of like what your life looks like outside of insurance. And I think for me, I have just being organized, I think, lends itself really well to to this business. So if you're not organized, you're gonna have to figure out a way to get there. But because, especially in my situation, because like I'm the mom, I've got 2 little girls, I've got a husband, and we live like I have pretty traditional values, just as far as like I'm the default parent. I do a lot of the things around the house and cooking dinner and things like that. So how does that fit in with what we do here and how can I capitalize on the time that I have. So, when I very first got started, it was 3 days a week, 8:30 to 2:30. And it was basically Tuesday was dial day, and then I would try to book as many appointments as I could for Wednesday and Thursday. And I just did my best. And then slowly I've just kind of tacked on a little more time and a little more time and a little more time. I'm going to show y'all my calendar. I don't know if I can do that on here. I guess I need to get it pulled up. Um,
Let
just
me
so you
know
kind
if
of,
it'll let you or not.
okay.
It should. Hold on.
Oh yeah, yeah, I will. Um, so I just kind of slowly tacked on more time over the last couple of years. And I think the biggest word that I could, I guess, get convey to everybody as far as like your calendar and your schedule is like you have to proactively adjust your sales, like sales as in like your sailboat, so that your sales will follow suit. Because um like if you're going into a week blind as far as like what's your schedule going to look like, it's going to cripple you because something's going to come up. Something always comes up. So kind of like going into your week proactively, just as far as like what is the week going to look like and how am I going to capitalize on every hour that I do have, so that I'm not, you know, up a creek without a paddle as far as time goes. So I'm going to try and get this pulled up. Sorry, you think I would be on top of these things. Nick said I was organized. Um, it's making me re-sign in. Hold on, y'all. Oh my gosh, I don't even know what this, I'm on my husband's computer, so y'all just bear with me here.
Well, while you're pulling that up, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
How long did you do that schedule of, dial Tuesday and run the appointments on, Wednesday, Thursday? Because I remember, I mean, it was a while ago, but I do remember that. How long were you on that schedule? Do you remember?
It was about a year. It was, yeah, it was about a year. And then summer break hit and it was 2 days a week, basically, same thing. Not a full day, never a full day. Normally it was like 8:30 to 2:30. Um, and yeah, it was about a year. And then the next year I tacked on a little bit more time. My youngest went to childcare 5 days a week, for a good bit of the day. And then my youngest was like home with me when I dialed, which is not ideal, but I wanted to make it work. I told you I'm scrappy, so you gotta make it work. Okay, here is Google Calendar. Okay, can y'all see that?
We cannot. Oh wait, it's coming up.
Okay, so just to give y'all an idea, my schedule, and this is what I want when I say adjust, like my schedule changes every single week. And I think the biggest thing I guess that I've done, I don't know, that just helps me know that I'm gonna have time to work, is that I proactively, like on Fridays and on Sundays, I'm going back into my calendar and figuring out what does my week look like. Me and my husband have to have a lot of conversations about what the week is going to look like. Tonight, he knew I was doing this call. Tomorrow morning, I'm taking my daughter to a doctor's appointment. So he took the girls to gymnastics tonight. And so tomorrow I'll be out of office all morning. My daughter has an eye doctor appointment, and then it's got to drop her off at school and then get back to work. And I'm going to work late into the evening because I'm taking Friday off because they're on fall break starting Friday. So it's just like an ebb and flow of constant revolving door of how is the schedule going to look this week? How's it going to look next week? There's always something that comes up. So kind of going in each week with a plan. If it is 8 to 4, it's 8 to 4. If you have 9 to 5 every single week, that's a huge blessing because all you have to worry about is what you're doing, from 9 to 5 or 8 to 5, 5 days a week. So I think that's the really cool thing about this business is like if you are dedicated to the time that you have and you know that, okay, when I sit down to work, I'm going to absolutely capitalize on the time that I have. You can really make some big things happen. And it
I want to
doesn't
jump
mean,
in.
yeah.
Sorry, I'm so sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to make a point, guys. So look at Mallory's calendar here. Oh, sorry, my 7-year-old was just calling me. But look at Mallory's calendar on here, and let me just tell you guys, like, there's a bunch of you guys on here that maybe you don't have kids, you're single, um, and sorry, hopefully you can still hear me. He called me again. He's gonna triple dial me. But maybe you don't have kids, maybe you're single. Like, look at Saturday. Okay, there's a tournament. Okay, some type of tournament from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. Okay,
Volleyball.
and then a volleyball tournament. Okay, and then look at this. No school on Friday, out of the office because they got that doctor appointment. And because two things Mallory said. Number one, she's looking at her calendar ahead of the week. Like, how many times, and I'm guilty of this sometimes too, where it's like over the weekend, it's like, well, I'm running around with kids or whatever. And then Monday morning comes along and I still, like, it's like Monday morning, I'm driving my kid to school and I still haven't even looked at my calendar. Like, that's a really, really good thing. Just like, what do we have coming for what's coming in the upcoming week? That's valuable. That's something you could add in. Just you could just go plan it out a little bit. You could be more effective, more efficient with the time that you have. And then the other thing is Mallory is kicking all of you guys' ass. Okay, like, there's a bunch of you. In fact, we've got lots of people writing business on a monthly basis. Okay, and out of everybody in Legacy Life, Mallory is top 10. She's number 9 right now. She's really close to number 8, and she's kicking all of your guys' asses. Okay, and you don't have kids. Okay, and you don't have these crazy plans, and no, school's off, and Austin's at work, so I can't do anything Friday. Friday shot. Some of you guys have Friday wide open. Okay, and she's still kicking your ass. So, I'm not saying that to make anyone feel bad. I'm just saying that, you have the time. If Mallory is able to make the time and put up some of the numbers that she's putting up, you have the time where you can go do it too. And, some of it might be a matter of just being more effective, but really just, in the hours that she does have, she's obviously working and kicking ass in the time that she does have. So just wanted to say that.
Yeah.
You can continue. Sorry
Yeah.
for interrupting.
No, you're fine. And I think honestly, like, I think sometimes having the time can be your Achilles heel because, and I'm even guilty of this. Like, when I have the time and it's not like forced, like, I'm not forced to budget my time. I think that gives your brain time to wander, especially in like this day and age where this is like this instant dopamine hit to like just start to scroll, get on TikTok or whatever it is. Like, this can either make you a lot of money by picking up the phone, or this can absolutely wreck you. Like, absolutely wreck you because you're so lost. I mean, you look down and you're like, oh my gosh, I've spent X amount of time on, whatever app. Somebody was telling me about how you can go to your like screen time, and you can see how much time you spend in certain applications on your phone. That would be if you're griping about like, oh, I'm not making any sales, how many dials are you making? And go to your screen time on your phone and see which app has the most time associated with it. If it's whatever, I don't TikTok and Snapchat, I don't even have those, but I think when you have the time, I think it can end up becoming a major hindrance. So if you can think of like budgeting your time in little chunks, I don't know if y'all have ever seen like the demonstration where it's about time management, and it's like these big clear vases, and the guy puts the big rocks in first. Those are like the most important things that you've got to do. You can do that with business. Like, when you lay out your calendar, if it's like a paper calendar or if it's Google Calendar, I do Google Calendar because I know that I will have my schedule no matter where I am going. I have to have it. If it's a doctor appointment or whatever for my kids, or if I'm in the field or whatever I'm doing, like, I know that my calendar is with me. Some people like a paper calendar, but when you sit down for a week or a month or whatever, if you can get your big rocks in there and then figure out, okay, well, I want to be able to go to a yoga class, or I want to be able to like plug all those little things in there. If you've got the time, add those in. But if you have a goal, a financial goal with this, and you want to be able to write a certain amount of business, or you want to be able to hit the trip, or you want to, like, you have to make sure that your calendar is aligning with that. Because if you have these big chunks of time where there's nothing there and you did nothing, or you just sitting around picking your booty, then you can't really complain about not, you know, having the success in your business that you want to have. And to me, like, I make my calendar my to-do list as well. So it looks a little crazy. Like, I don't know, this screams ADHD so terribly because it's just like all different colors. It's just crazy. But to me, like, it makes sense to me. So hopefully that gives you like a good visual just of, kind of what a week looks like. And you can see, like, I've kind of already planned ahead. Like, there's another day next week where I'll be out of the office, going to boot camp. I've got school drop off, school pickup. And I'll tell you, it is crazy. Like, my schedule changes every week. Some weeks I work Monday, some weeks I don't. Some weeks I work Tuesday night, some weeks I work Monday night. Some, like, it's all over the place. But if you have a spouse and y'all are both on board and you can really just have good conversations about, okay, this week my plan is this. And once you say it out loud and you've arranged childcare, or you've made a plan, you're more likely to stick to that plan and to fill your time with income producing activities after, after it's on the calendar. So that's just a little bit of my schedule there. As far as, like, I know everybody has their own unique situation. Some people have one day, some people have 2 days, some people have 5 days. Some people just have 8:30 to 3, that time when your kids are at school. You can definitely do this. You can definitely make this work. You just have to be kind of a slave to your calendar, truly. Like, you just have to live and breathe by your calendar, truly. Nick, do you have any other questions about, like, scheduling, calendar? I'll tell y'all too, like, it is rare that I work a 5-day week. Because something always comes up. Like, it just, so, I mean, it's a 4 to 5 day thing, rarely 5, rarely, really 5. Nick, do you have any questions? Oh, someone has a question.
Yeah, and so there's a couple in the Q&A there.
Okay. So Logan, that's great. Logan asked if I was in home or if I was virtual. So Logan, part of my journey has, over the last year, has been switching to virtual. So I was in home for all of 21, well, the latter half of 21 when I wrote no policies. But by golly, I had a lot of appointments. Let's see, October 21 to Nick, what, fall of 23? Does that sound right? Of when I started going, I guess I started going virtual in fall of 23. When this November, December hit, in 23, I went fully virtual. So I'm really only virtual now. Which has been a whole other skill set that I've had to develop, because it is different. It's a totally different process. There's a different layer of trust that you're having to establish with the client. But I am so only virtual now. Anyone have, like, practical questions? How do you manage this? How have you, what do you do? Things like that. Especially if you're a mom or a parent, maybe you're a dad, single dad. How many leads am I buying a week? Right now I'm buying at least 50 virtual leads a week. And this is relatively new. I'm kind of trying out a new lead vendor that we really like for virtual leads, and I'm getting at least 50. With virtual, you need more, a lot more than you do with in person, especially if it's direct to mail. You just need more.
Can you talk about, I'm sorry if there's another question there, but can you talk about just, what did you learn when you were going what did you learn from being in person that maybe you could impart to the people that are either in person now, right? Like maybe they want to go through the same process that you went through, where you started in person,
Mhm.
transitioned over to virtual. Like, what did you take from in person and apply to virtual? And maybe the people that want to do that same thing, or even the people that like, hey, they're on here and just life situation, whatever it is, doesn't necessarily allow them to go in person. What would you tell those people of like, okay, well, here's what you got to get good at, and here's what I got good at, maybe in person or maybe virtual or whatever. But um, what would you say for making that transition?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's value in being in the home first. For me, I wouldn't take that back ever. I learned a lot about building the relationship with the client. I learned a lot about that most they don't know what they're talking about. It's one of those things where you learn pretty quickly in this business that this is not one of those businesses where the customer is always right, because the customer's never right. The client's never right. They don't know what they're talking about. And I think I really saw that and learned that in the home. Um, and like just how badly some of them need our help. I think you learn some of your it's a different type of like developing a thicker skin when you're in the home, because um you're driving around a lot. You're physically getting no showed. You're driving there, no one's there, that type of thing. You develop a thick skin, and that way when you go virtual, it just looks a little different. The chase just looks different. You're calling a lot more. It's a different type of mental battle when you're sitting at your computer and you haven't gotten up and you need to get up and you need some human interaction or some sunlight, or it's just different. Both great, both have their pluses and minuses, but I definitely think getting comfortable in the home and running appointments in the home is immensely helpful before going virtual. And you develop a lot more of a knowledge base too, because I mean, you have to be confident on the phone to answer questions when you go virtually. And if you're not confident to answer the questions, then you have to be confident enough to say, or humble enough and confident enough in yourself to say, I don't know the answer to that, but let me find out really quick. Those types of things. Does that answer your question, Nick?
Yeah, A plus.
Okay.
There's a couple more in here. Jessica
Jessica
has one
said,
for you.
seems like I'm super busy. How do I schedule time for yourself and don't burn out? I don't. I really don't have time for myself. Other than in the morning. That's like my time. I get up early, that's my time. And then in the evening after my kids go to bed. And maybe that makes me crazy. It probably does, but that's also why I think I don't know. I'm just one of those people. I just put my head down and go. I think a lot of the people that are, like, and even you, Jessica, like everyone, being on the trip, like everyone just is super disciplined. And I think when you work in this industry, when you work in any or commission based or sales based industry, like you just have to be a disciplined person. You have to be disciplined with your time and be a good steward of the time that you have. Um, but yeah, I know I don't do a lot of things for myself. Sunday is like family day, Saturday is family day, but it's crazy around here, and you have to be a little bit crazy to do this, I think. But um, I think getting up early that's kind of like my time for me. That's me time. Um, and then like the occasional, hair appointment or something like that. Like that's to me, that's like me time. But no, it's all it's all crazy all the time. What software or CRM are you using to keep track of your clients? Okay, I have a couple tools that I use. When I get leads, I'm putting them into the lead to client CRM. Though I looking back, I'm liking this new lead vendor more. I really, really, really like the lead to client CRM. It texts you on their, or texts them on their birthday. You can set up a policy reminder. You can text them through the system. You can set up payment reminders. You can record your conversations. So if you are dialing from that, you can hear what you talked about. Maybe you talked last week and you're like, well, what did we talk about? I like going back and listening to what I talked to that person about. Really helpful for me because I got mom brain and it's just a mess up here. Um, so that's where I am putting my leads. Um, I'm also using this. So this is what I use to like track my conversations sort of. And I don't know if y'all can even see that, maybe a little bit, but this is a sheet that I made up just by myself, and then I get it bound like once a quarter. I just get several of them printed at Office Depot or Office Max or whatever the hell it's called. And then I have everybody in here. So for like big chunks of time, I was losing my mind with all of the single pieces of paper. It was not my jam. My girls were getting a hold of it. If you're someone that maybe like you're just really disorganized and you don't like the pieces of paper everywhere, to me, that was really starting to like overwhelm me. So I moved to this system. So all of these, I've got the date of the first meeting, the date of the follow-up meeting, the status. So like this lady, Kim, we applied her mutual Omaha Living Promise. She's approved. And then I can kind of look back. I have on the back side her, I probably shouldn't have put that up because her address was on there. Sorry, Nick. Um, I don't want YouTube to get mad at us. And then I'm not going to hold that side up because that has her banking info on it. But this has information when we're submitting the application. So like I'm writing down her address, her beneficiary's birthday, her beneficiary's phone number, her banking information, like all of that is here, and I have it here so that it's all in one place. So I can be like, oh my gosh, okay, when did I write her initially? Okay, that was, and I can kind of go back. And again, that's why I like having a virtual calendar, because if I can't remember when I first met with Kim, I'm going to go up into my calendar and search, okay, that was October. All right. Well, I've got my October book here, and here's her page. Here's her medications. Here's what we said. Okay, this is what her banking, her social, like it's all here. I like that better. Some people may have a filing system. You really just have to figure out what works for you. But this is what I do. And I think I shared this at one point, but I can share it again. It's not cheap to get this made. I'm not gonna lie. I think it's like maybe $70 or something, which that's not a lot. But to me, it's like it's worth my mental sanity to have this like all put together. So I've got everybody in here, and I have several of these big stacks. But the good thing is like I've got one that's like, I started it in latter half of April. So I've got like April into May, May into June, June into July. So I can just pull them out and like quickly look through and see, okay, yep, this is Gay and her husband. Didn't write them. They've gone to witness protection. But here is the notes on her and her husband, that type of thing. So I'm really like notating the heck out of these, like highlighting like crazy, just because if as I'm like going through follow-ups, saying, okay, well, they no-showed me, it was going to talk later. So I need to call these people. There's also a space at the bottom where like I put their phone number and their email and their spouse's name on there too. And then I'm always putting in like, maybe if there's a note of talk about retirement, or they may want to increase down the road, or, it's normally covered in notes by the time our conversation is done. So I hope that's helpful. I can't remember who asked that question. And then how long did it take for me to get virtual sales down? Ooh, it's been, I don't know. I mean, I'm still learning. It's a different process. It's a slower process. I think Nick and Helgeson and I and a couple others that are like really doing virtual now have kind of all been figuring it out together as we go. I'm not as like, sharp and I'm just not. I'm not as sharp as the guys are. I think a little more slowly. I'm maybe not as, tied in a bow type of a speaker. Um, but I think months. I think there's definitely like a journey of just figuring out how you sound on the phone, how to control the conversation, how to speak to them in a way where they can trust you early on. Like it's just different when you're only on the phone. There's just a different you have to be way more professional, maybe in a way, on the phone than you do in person because it's just different. You are definitely sharper than me. I love you, Mike. Can you put a link or something for that book? Yes, I will. Honestly, Haley, I will, I'll just send the document. I'll put the document that I use on Telegram. And then what you have to do, you can take it in, you can physically like take the document to Office Depot or Office Max or Staples or whatever you use. And they can make it there depending on like how busy they are, or you can just do the online order and just go pick it up maybe that next day. This is the biggest one I've had. I got it printed on thicker paper, like maybe almost like a cardstocky, because I didn't want it to be ripping in my bag. So, but it's all a tax write-off. It's business supplies. So that's kind of it's just one of those things to add to your list. Um, your
I got a
list.
question here.
Yeah.
Um, are you with the lead to client leads and then also
Mhm.
with the vertical leads, how has it been? How has it been going more for one call closes as opposed to two call closes? Like, are you going more for one call closes? How has that been? Because I know, yeah, well, for those of you guys that maybe you've been around for a while, like a lot of the virtual training that we have is centered around a two call close, which obviously, like that's how I learned. That's how Helgeson learned. That's how Mallory learned. A lot of us that are virtual, but some of these lead types, it just makes more sense. Like, hey, you got them on the phone. We don't want to chase these people over for, 3.5 weeks trying to, close them. So, how has it been, going for one call closes? And have you noticed anything different there? Like, what have you implemented? And I don't know the answer to this, but that's why I'm asking. But what have you implemented for one call closes, or have they a lot of them for you still stayed as two call or whatever?
I think with the one call close, you just kind of have to be assumptive going into it, but you also have to be very receptive to the situation and the person that you're calling. If they're at work, if they're, oftentimes they'll tell you, but I think the biggest thing is you just have to be assumptive of, okay, so the next step is, we fill out this application, we're going to send it in and we're going to see if we can get you approved. Um, like just leading them in the direction of, okay, so here's what our next steps are. Um, I'm gonna go ahead and open the application and we can start to fill it out together. And if they can't, I don't really ask. Um, if they don't have the time, they'll say they don't have the time, or they'll be like, how long does that application take? Oh, 5 minutes, and it's gonna for sure take longer than 5 minutes. But I always figure like if we get into it and we can't get it finished, yeah, I at least shot my shot. But you just have to be a little bit of a not necessarily chameleon, that's not the right word, but just very receptive to the situation. Typically, like your younger people, they're on their lunch break if you're talking to them, or they're in the middle of the workday, so they may not have time for you to sit down and do the entire, find the why, do your discovery of, their health and all of that, and then look do the quoting, and then they may not have that time. So you may have to do it in two parts and just be professional, with if you are going to split it up, being professional with how you're splitting it up and making sure they get reminded and all that. But I will
Are
tell
you
you,
sending, yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, if you are doing the one call close, that's really where like that whole notion of the professionalism that I was talking about you have to really go above and beyond, in my opinion, because you have literally just got on the phone with this person and you're about to get their social, their date of birth, their mailing address, and their bank information in literally less than an hour, and they have never even seen your face. So you have to really, really not talk like a millennial or a Gen Z. Like you have to be professional and go over and beyond to make sure they have your contact information. They know who they're talking to. Oh, you're licensed. Okay. Like some people are real chill about it, but some people are very like it's under lock and key. So,
Yeah, I almost think of it in my mind of like you got to put them at ease that the person that they're doing business with this quickly knows what they're doing, is a professional, and
mhm.
isn't gonna take these things lightly, right? So, do you send people what I was gonna ask before? Are you sending people like a virtual business card, like just texting it to them while you're on the phone with them, or like what do you send these people? Like, let's say somebody's on the phone, they're like, yeah, I've got some time to do an application. Mutual of Omaha sounds good, Valerie. Like they're ready to
Mhm.
go. I could do the one that's $128 a month. That sounds great. What do you do right then and there? Because I feel like for a lot of new people, it takes maybe a little bit of time to get that confidence to just like stay cool and again, put them at ease in a professional way of like, hey, I know what I'm doing and I'm a professional. So like, what do you do? Are you sending it to them? What do you say when you send them your virtual business card or whatever you send to these folks?
Yeah, before or I guess while I'm opening the app, I'm just saying before or what do I say? I'm gonna have your information. It's important that you have mine. I'm gonna send you really quickly. You let me know when it comes through, Mary. I'm going to send you my virtual business card, and on there, and I tell them what they're looking at. So just as I'm like beep, 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 looking up their phone number and sending it, I'm telling them what they're about to receive. It has my first name and my last name on there. And it also has what's called my national producer number on there. And that's linked to my licensure in every single state that I'm licensed in. So if you wanted to look up my credentials, you can. There's the number there. And my phone number, my email, and our agency website. I say, and there's a picture on there too, so you can put a face to a name. And then I send it to them, and then I listen to see if I can hear it come through. A lot of times I'll be like, oh, and then they get really excited because I just updated my picture to one of my family, but because Nick, I stole that from you because then they talk about how cute your kids are, and I do have cute kids. Um, but that's what I do. And then I make sure that they have that. And then, when it comes to the social, because that's a big hang up for a lot of people, when it comes to doing the one call close, I kind of tie that in with like the HIPAA authorization. I say, now they're going to run a couple different um, medical history authorizations. And the first one they're going to run it's tied to your date of birth and your social and your name. It's kind of the three pieces of information that they have to have, and they make sure all those match up. And if there's any red flags that come up in your health history, they'll tell us pretty quick or something along those lines. Basically, I plant the seed that I'm going to need their social. So they understand that it's not just because they want to steal their identity. It's not because they want to steal their identity or something. It's because they have to have it. It's insurance.
Something that I'll do too, guys, is on virtual, depending on the company and the application or whatever, I'll go get the rest of the info first. And not that this is a requirement, but like going through the app, all right, Mary, do you use middle initial? Yeah, okay, just confirming your birthday is January 3rd, 1960. Yep. Okay. And what state were you born in? And then I'll get their address and then, as much as I can. And then once I've got all that info, I'm like, oh yeah, what's your social? And they're just like,
Mm-hmm.
oh yeah, it's 523, blah, 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 blah. And I don't know if that makes any sort of a difference, but I do it
Mm-hmm. No,
because I
yeah,
just want to, if people are a
yeah.
little bit further on in the process, my thinking is like if they're a little bit, if they've already given me their all this stuff, the state they were born in, their address, like all these other things, I say, oh yeah, hey, what's your social? After they've given me all that stuff, then I just feel like maybe they're more likely to give it to me, and I don't feel like I've gotten a objection about it. Like, have you gotten any objections about someone's social in a while?
I've got partial ones. They're like, oh, they really need my social, and I'm like, yeah, just how they make sure you're you and it not committing insurance fraud and it's tied to your health history. I just kind of glaze over it, but I'm just confident in my answer. But that is, yeah, that's a good thing to say because that is true. I do wait. That's the last thing that I ask for. Typically, I wait as long as I possibly can to get the social.
Yeah, for sure. And
And
guys, we got maybe just a couple more minutes here with Mal. I don't want to keep her all night, and I got to 7:45. It's 8:45 in Texas, so
your groceries are
um,
melting in the back.
yeah, they probably are. Last couple questions here, Mal. If you want to just answer those and then close it out, it'd be awesome.
Best tips you've learned for tackling objections. What are the major differences? Honestly, if you can address the objection just before you get to it, that's the biggest thing. Most of the time, the objections virtually are they say it's one thing, but it's really just the price. Like if typically if you get to that spot where you're like, okay, well, okay, let's see, 35,000, X amount. And it's like you hear them, like you hear a pause or you feel like that's what's hanging them up. It's like, okay, let's take a step back for a second. You know, it doesn't have to be that. This is more important that it's set up in such a way that like if you can go back and like isolate the objection and just take a step back and go back to why they inquired in the first place. I don't know if that answered your question, Jameson. It went away, so I don't I don't remember the second part to it. But if you can most of the time with virtual it's just price or um want to, well, I'm just not sure. Most of the time if they come up with an objection, I didn't really do my job very well on the front end of building the why and then going back to that as I went to go for the sale. Where did I create my business card? On Canva. Pretty easy. Kara, there's somebody in the group, Janet, has a hookup for cute cards. You should hit her up. I don't remember the girl's name, but she is there and she can help you with your card. Um, well, y'all, I hope this was helpful. That was my one objective, was just be helpful. And if y'all ever need anything, please know too that you're always welcome to reach out. You can text me, you can message me on Telegram and ask for my phone number. I'm really bad about responding to people on Telegram. So if you've messaged me ever before, please forgive me. Just send me a text. But just know if I can have some success, so can you. There's nothing special about me or anybody else that's on this team. We're just consistent and dedicated and disciplined, and that's all you got to do. Love y'all. Nick, anything else? If not, I'm gonna sign out.
A plus, Miss B. Appreciate you. You're a
Thanks.
rock
See you
star.
later. Bye.
All right, y'all. See you guys soon. Let's kick some ass this week.